All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am Vinny, and I'm here to talk all about Real American Freestyle RAFO2, which just got done live on Fox Nation. I did host a watch party over on the Gimmick Table Media, Discord, and I'll be doing that going forward as long as I'm off work with all of these RAF events going forward. But I want to thank the people that did join in. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in live right now as I talk all about a passion project of Hulk Hogan before he passed away. And that's Real American Freestyle, RAFO2. It's in the books. It just got done streaming on Fox Nation. Great event. And I myself, first of all, I'm welcoming anybody to get in the chat because this is only the second time I've watched freestyle wrestling because it's the second Real American Freestyle event. And I'm not well versed on a lot of freestyle wrestling because of the fact that I wasn't a freestyle wrestling fan growing up. I was more along the lines of a WWE, WWF, WCW style fan, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to say. But either way, I'm getting into this now. I wanted to watch it because of the simple fact that, like I said, it's a passion project for Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, and the legacy of the immortal Hulk Hogan lives on through all of his Hulkamaniacs. But with that said, the fact that this is an absolute awesome event to watch. Now, obviously, the commentary is going to get better. Kurt Angle was the color commentary today, and Bubba Jenkins, I believe his name is, was the play-by-play again. They did have Juliana Pena, our UFC female champion, on as another color commentator tonight, and then was replaced midway through the event by Bo Nickel, who's an RAF talent. Overall, the event was great. And I honestly thought that it was going to be boring when I first started watching freestyle wrestling because of the simple fact that it's not, like WWE. When I used to watch the wrestling on the Olympics and all of that, I honestly never really got into it because it didn't have the presentation like RAF has. RAF brings freestyle wrestling and dresses it up, so to speak, with a lot of WWE style production. They have the video screens, they have a raised platform mat and not just like a gym. They have talented commentators, they have post-match interviews and all of that. They have real music entrances. I enjoyed it. I am enjoying the trip, and I can't wait to see it grow bigger and better as we move forward. With that said, might as well get on to the results. If you did not watch, first of all, I recommend you signing up for Fox Nation. It's only like $9 a month. But if not, I am going to be streaming these events pending I'm not working. Streaming them on the Gimmick Table Media Discord channel. If you don't know it, let me know and I'll go ahead and we'll get you set up with it. But I will be doing it on the Suds Watch Along channel on that Discord. So, we might as well get the first opening contest was the Bantamweight Championship for the men, and that was a match between Austin DeSanto and Nico Megaludis. Austin DeSanto dominated that match with a 10-0 victory, which is what they call a tech fall. I guess it's just a mercy rule in freestyle wrestling. I know Michael from Kicking Out at 2 said that he used to do freestyle wrestling. So I'm going to talk to him about coming on some of these shows at some point just to help me learn more about, freestyle wrestling. But from what I was hearing on the commentary, a tech fall is, a 10-point victory, which is a technical fall, technical knockout, if you go with boxing, or a mercy rule in sports, baseball, football, whatever. So that was the first match. He is, and honestly, I don't think he was the he was crowned the bantamweight champion. I think it was just in the bantamweight division. And so I apologize for that because all the championships were later on in the night. The next match was something I never witnessed before. I think the name is Tai Salkaznov faced James Green, who is, an American. And the match itself ended in a tie, a 4-4 tie. But because Tai was the last person to score, he came out the winner. He won by judges ruling or criteria. That's what they called it. He won by criteria. So congratulations to Tai Salkaznov. I'll get these names right, I promise. I'll be well versed in foreign names going forward. So that was a great match. Again, I enjoyed the event. Okay, feel free to hit up the chat if you did watch it. I want to thank you all for tuning in right now. 5 people currently watching, which obviously this is, freestyle wrestling is not the most important style of sports or entertainment, but either way, I'm happy you guys are tuning in right now. Spread the word, share and share alike. All right, the next match was in the heavyweight division, and that was Mason Paris defeating Alexander Romanov in another tech fall victory, 11-0. These were, in Biggie's words, big, meaty men slapping meat. It was a fantastic match. I think what happens is when you think of freestyle wrestling, again, I did not realize all the different weight classes because I never I never wrestled in high school or college or whatever. And learning about the different weight classes like you would have in boxing or in, mixed martial arts. And, again, with freestyle wrestling, you look at the heavyweights. These are the guys that you could picture could be in a WWE ring, and when you actually watch their craft, they are very, very athletic. They are very, very nimble on their feet. Like, they're fantastic athletes. I don't care what anybody says. They were great. And the matches were fantastic. It was great. And in the last match, I forgot to mention that Tai Salkaznov was actually down 4-0 to James Green in the second match, and ended up coming back to tie, which is what gave him the win by criteria in the 4-4 tie. All right, moving on. Was a match in what I have to say, they did call them both influencers. In terms of, influencers for wrestlers. And they had personalities. They were great at the pre-fight or the pre-event media scrum, if that's what you call it, press conference. And this match was Keelan Jimison, who goes by the name Muggsy Bulljunk. Yes, that's it. And Muggsy Bulljunk, which they just called him Muggsy on the event. I'm assuming it's because they didn't want to say Bulljunk on national streaming television. And he was fighting Caden Henschel in this match, and a dominant victory. I guess these two fought earlier this summer at some point in the not too distant past. So this is a rematch of sorts, not an RAF official rematch, because both these guys are making their RAF debut, but they knew each other. They went through each other. So this match was dominant. Caden Henschel beat Muggsy 11-1. Again, a technical fall or tech fall, by mercy rule. And again, you look at the takedowns. You look at what you watch the grappling. You watch how the scoring is not as widespread as soccer, where you're not going to go through an hour with no scores. These are 2-minute rounds with 30 seconds in between each round. There were a couple of times I didn't realize there were challenges in freestyle wrestling. We saw a number of challenges tonight. The coaches threw out their color brick, I guess, and they challenged some of the decisions or points or what have you. Again, it's not something that I'm used to. It's not something that I knew, but I'm learning just like the rest of everybody who's watching. As coming over from a WWE background, this is, something that is all new to me. Again, maybe there are some WWE finishers that could translate to the mat, but I highly doubt it. Although some of the submissions, I did see I did see in the, I want to say it was the main event, the Edge's submission hold. Yes, it was similar. I did see it towards the end. But that was fun. That was fun. Just kind of going back before we finish up with the Muggsy and Caden match. Mason Paris, like I said, in the heavyweight division, defeating Alexander Romanov. And Mason Paris actually challenged the RAF heavyweight champion who was crowned in RAF 01. And that was, oh goodness, now I can't remember his name. The World Heavyweight Championship. Wyatt Hendrickson. How can I forget that name? That's a fantastic, that's a marquee name. But Wyatt Hendrickson was challenged by Mason Paris at the end of RAF 01. So could we see that match happen at RAF 03 in Chicago on November 29th? So mark your calendars, November 29th in Chicago. Wintrust Arena is going to be RAF 03. All right, moving on. The next match was Nate Jackson defeating Carter Starocci 7-2. And that was in the catchweight match. The catchweight match was Muggsy versus Caden Henschel. That was the catchweight. I didn't realize there was such a thing called catchweight. But either way, the great match between Nate Jackson and Carter Starocci. Moving on to another match that the preview of the match, the trailer, the build-up, storyline related video package that they showed before the match, before the next match. I want to say, is Pat Downey a cancer survivor or something? I couldn't really understand what they were saying, but they were doing a big focus on Pat Downey. If he's not, I apologize. I mean, I apologize for saying something like that. I think it was something that I think they had to overcome some odds, some health challenges. But Pat Downey got beat by Jake Varner 5-1 in their match. But it was an overall back and forth match. It was a hard fought 5-1 victory for Jake Varner. Now we move on to the championship matches for Real American Freestyle. There were 4 championship matches, the 4 main events of the evening. Starting off with the men's welterweight championship. And that was David Carr defeating Amar Rita in an 18-6 tech fall match. It was completely one sided. Although this one showed me that there's even the referees are not infallible, because the referee, it was originally going to be a tech fall of 11-1. However, there were 4 points that were missed on the initial call, which ended up allowing Amarita to kind of get back into it, and it ended up being 11-5. So, I mean, it ended up a very lopsided victory anyways, but that's how the points kind of can change things. It's weird going from thinking that all victories come from pinfall, submission. I'm going to leave away count out disqualification, but pinfall or submission. But, the points really tell the tale, and most of the matches are won on points, not not definitely on pins all the time, which is all new to me. So David Carr defeating Amarita 18-6, great match, and I could see the frustration on Amar in that matchup, which is why towards the end of the match he did lose focus. I'm not going to deny that. All right, next match for the Real American Freestyle Men's Bantamweight Championship. Coming back from RAF 01, Nathan Tomaselli defends his Bantamweight Championship in a rematch against Matt Ramos, because it was supposed to be Tomasello versus, it was supposed to be Tomaselli against, something happened, because it was originally, it's not, they're not going to tell me what happened. But there was somebody that had to back out. Originally, it was a different match for Tomaselli. However, that original person backed out or couldn't fight, or whatever the case was. And Matt Ramos got the call. And this is the first RAF rematch from RAF 01. And Tomaselli defeated Ramos again in a very hard-fought 5-3 victory. It really was. It was literally tied 3-3 until just seconds left in the match, and Tomaselli pulled it out. All right, now the co-main event, or the semi-main event, whatever you want to call it, for the Women's Bantamweight Championship, Helen Maroulis defeated Samantha Stewart with a solid 6-0 victory. It was hard fought. I mean, it was a shutout, but it was a hard fought. Samantha Stewart really put up a fight, and you could tell that Helen Maroulis had to earn the points, the 6 points that she got. She had to earn them. A hard fought match, and these girls are tough. they really are, and they're in their. I'm not gonna give away names or ages or what have you, but these girls are tough, and I give them a lot of credit for being able to compete in these types of sports. Back years ago, when I was doing another podcast called SportsWire, which was my original podcast, and that was taken off of my old public access TV show, the SportsWire, VVB SportsWire, whatever you want to call it. I had on a girl from East Haven, Connecticut, Marissa Taylor, and she was a high school wrestler on the men's team, because there was no women's team or girls team, whatever you want to say, for a high school age. She wrestled on the boys wrestling team because there was no girls wrestling team at the time. So when it comes to intergender, it was big, because there had to be there had to be intergender matches, games, sports to kind of break the ice to realize, wait a minute, females deserve to have their own division, their own league, their what have you. Um, and at the time, I gave Marissa a lot of credit because, again, a girl fighting in a boy's sport, it had to happen to make to evolve. But either way, this match was hard fought, and I give them a lot of credit. Before that match, they had an announcement that Holly Holm, who shocked the world, who wrestled in her first ever match at RAF 01 as a replacement for Kennedy Blades because of an NCAA ruling that she could not wrestle at RAF 01. I'm still kind of foggy on what happened. I'm waiting for my interview with Eric Bischoff that we're still working on getting done to kind of find out what exactly happened there. Because I want to know. I want to learn why she wasn't able to wrestle. They said it had something to do with the NCAA ruling or something. I'm not too sure what that meant. But either way, she said that she's going to actually go through a full training camp and be really trained for her match. And Kennedy Blades was at both events. She was shown on camera wearing an RAF jacket. So could we see her debut for RAF at RAF 03 coming up in Chicago on November 29th? And then the main event, it was for the RAF Men's Cruiserweight Championship. Kyle Dake successfully defended his Cruiserweight Championship in a 7-1 victory over Boris Makeyev. And Dake dominated the match. Makeyev was getting tired early and just couldn't defend himself against Dake. And I have to say, it was overall a very entertaining show to watch. Am I the most versed person in freestyle wrestling? No, not at all. And you can tell. Like I said, I'm looking for a co-host for this show because of the simple fact that I need to learn more about it. I'm not, again, this is only the second time I've ever watched freestyle wrestling. Never watched it in the Olympics, never watched it really on ESPN or ESPN2 or ESPN3 or whatever channel it was coming on. Because the times that I had watched as a kid, I was looking for the WWE style of wrestling, thinking wrestling is wrestling, not sports entertainment. As an adult, obviously, I know the difference. I give kudos to Eric Bischoff because Eric Bischoff not only revolutionized sports entertainment during the NWO era in WCW, but also revolutionized professional wrestling with RAF and carrying on the vision that he, Hulk Hogan, Chad Brownstein, and Izzy Martinez had to bring this and make this a reality. So I give them a lot of credit. But that's it. That's the event. I enjoyed hearing Kurt Angle on color. I think that no matter how much I really like Kurt Angle, and I'm a huge fan of Kurt Angle, I feel like a lot of his head and neck issues have kind of slurred his speech a little bit. Nothing against him, but I even heard it during his last run in the WWE. Anytime that he would talk on the mic. But overall, it was entertaining. Chael Sonnen was not there. I thought from the end of RAF 01, we were going to get a match between Chael Sonnen and was it Tito Ortiz? I think it was. But because there was that, that challenge thrown out. I think it was Tito Ortiz. The challenge Chael Sonnen. I thought it was going to be for RAF 02, but apparently, obviously, it wasn't. Maybe it could be RAF 03 in Chicago. So that's definitely a possibility. But who the hell knows if that's going to happen? I'm going to keep watching. I know Bischoff did say that they're working on a weekly show or a weekly type of, episodic show to kind of like the Ultimate Fighter or, with something. I'm not sure what the structure is going to be. I'm not even sure how the contract situations work. It's obviously not like WWE where guys are able to night in and night out perform because it's scripted and choreographed. But I have to give these guys a lot of credit. They're for a guy like, let's say for Kyle Dake or Tomasello or, any of the other people that did wrestle for a second time. I think they're the only two that were both here. Yeah. But for them, putting their titles on the line in the second, wrestling and Matt Ramos, to wrestle, from 1 to 2, it was, 6 to 8 weeks between. And the next one is in 4 weeks. So let's see how many people come back. To do a weekly show like that, they're probably going to have to rotate talent. So I'm not sure how it all works because then, they're going and winning other tournaments and championships. The Olympics are coming up. The World Championships are coming up. I don't know how that works. I'm not well versed on it. I can't wait to get somebody on here who understands and knows the workings of freestyle wrestling. Overall, the event was great. They come in at 4 hours, starting at 7, ending at 11 on Fox Nation. And like I said, it's just $9 a month. It's you order through the Fox Nation app website, but then you watch it on the Fox One app. It's a little confusing. Cut down the confusion. I am going to be, as long as I'm not working on the nights that there are RAF events, I'm going to be live streaming and having a watch along on the Gimmick Table Media Group Discord. Watch for the post because I'll put the Discord link in the chat or on the tweet post, wherever you're, or just DM me. But anyways, I'm Vinny. I will be back Monday night with Angela for Suds News. You can reach me on Twitter and Facebook at Vinny Suds. You can you can reach me on Twitter and Facebook at Vinny Suds. At Suds Media is the network X account. I usually go on there because it's a little harder to go back and forth, but I do tweet from both. Instagram and Threads is at Suds _ Circle Media. TikTok is at Suds_Media. Facebook, there's also a Suds _ Circle Media page as well. And then there's also YouTube. You can just get to our YouTube channel, which is suds-media.com, and just hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. And I want to thank everybody for getting us to 320 subscribers as of the last time I looked. So thank you so much. We're on our way to 500. Let's get 500 by the end of the year so that we start 2026 being monetized. But either way, check out Suds News Monday night. Dockside at the Bay will be happening on Thursday afternoon. And then we'll be doing some more stuff throughout. So I'm Vinny, RAF02 in the books. Great event. And we'll see you another time for another episode of Freestylin on RAF. That'll be at the next, in November after the next event. Have a great night, everybody.